Hi guys, and welcome back to another Dot Race video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21. Round 8 of our Moto2 World Championship is here, and it's in Catalunya. So starting in pole position is Sam Lowes with Augusto Fernandez and Marco Bezzecchi on the front row, Ben Schneider, Vieja and Gardner, Schrotter, Di Gianantonio, Roberts, Grant, Baldassari, Arbolino, Agura, Fernandez, Canet, Luti, Dixon, Bobier, Manzi, Ramirez, Vietti, Navarro, Dalla Porta, Corsi, Arenas, Montella, Cyrene, Garzo, Baltas, Buliga, and Somkia Chantra at the back of the grid. So we now look to the lights for the Moto2 World Championship leader. He will look for the red, and it's disappeared. It's go time here in Catalunya. I absolutely adore this track and I love this bike. What a combination this race should be. But of course we have struggled this weekend. What can we do? Who is going to take the whole shot? Where are we going to be when it comes to turn 1 for the push comes to shove? It's going to be Sam Lowes leading this one. And I tell you what, if Sam Lowes gets to the front, it's probably going to be curtains already as we dive up on the inside of Lorenzo Baldassari. A little bit of contact there with Tony Arbolino as he dives up on the inside of the Moto3 World Champion. Joe Roberts is just ahead of us. He set the identical lap time to us in qualifying just 4 hours ago, as we now go into the very difficult right-hander of turn 4. Do a nice tight apex here with Lorenzo Baldassari squirming a little bit on the front brake. You can see him chattering a little bit on the entry of turn 4. Now going into somewhat difficult corner as well for turn 5, as we have Remy Gardner on the left-hand side of your screen there, getting ahead of Tony Arbolino, pushing the Liquimoli Intact rider backwards as we take his position. Can we go round the outside of Remy Gardner? That's a bold and brave move. I ever did see one. Magnificent job for the current World Championship leader, as Joe Roberts is ahead of us on board the Italtrans Racing. Get nice and tight apex here, and we might be able to cut his nose off coming on the exit here. Potentially beautifully done there for Grant. He is on a charge already, moving up 2 or 3 positions to start this Grand Prix off. Now onto the left-hand side for Lakaisha. Good to see Jake Dixon up there. Didn't actually see where he qualified, but good to see that man battling up at the front. I do, in fact, it might actually be Xavi Vieja. I think I've done him a disservice there. My apologies to Xavi Vieja there in his home track, of course, with Marcel Schrotter, the underrated Moto2 rider, as we get into the right-hand side now for turn 12. Into power setting 2 now. There's no need to completely stay on power setting 3. We'll burn away the fuel, and of course we'll burn away the rear tyre as well, as Joe Roberts gives us a little bit of a love tap going into the Europe car. So now it's time to get back onto the gas once again as we go across the timing line for the very first time. We'll be doing that 11 times here today in this wonderful Montmello track. Now going into turn 1, getting really late on the brakes there. I think we were the last of the late breakers there. Probably went a little bit too late since we lost a little bit of touch with Marcel Schrotter and Fabio Di Gianantonio. But there's always been a carnage behind. There's been a crash behind. Not sure who that is. Can't see anything on the screen because unfortunately MotoGP 21 doesn't tell us who's crashed, but I can get a good indication of who it might have been. But going into turn 4 now, once again, this difficult right-hander. Nice tight apex there for the Moto3 World Champion. Into power setting 2, not utilising all the power setting 3 as mentioned earlier. Don't want to be burning the tyre up coming out of the corner. Those with a keen eye, bit of a hawk eye, you might have noticed in the bottom right corner of your screen there, that medium tyre got very warm on the right-hand side of the tyre just before the entry of turn 5. But if you didn't see it, spoiler alert, it got very warm. Now going into the left-hand side for TV3, good to see Sam Lowes leading this Grand Prix. He's putting that earlier part of season to bed, righting the wrongs and earning some valuable championship points. Now Sam Lowes has let the season get away from him just a little bit in those opening rounds of the season. He did have a podium in Argentina, but under very odd and bizarre circumstances, as Grant looks to be lining up the Liquimoli Intact rider. Beautifully done there from Grant. He's up on the inside of Marcel Schrotter, but will Schrotter try and fight back? He certainly thought about it for the number 23 did. I think he was waiting for an opportunity but couldn't quite get the cutback or at least just a fight back at any point. Di Gianantonio wants a bit of Marco Bezzecchi. I think he's going to go for a lunge if he gets the chance. And of course Marco Bezzecchi on a redemption tour here in Montmello, Catalunya. Disaster last time out in Mugello, crashing out and taking 4 other riders with him. You've got the other end of the spectrum here. You've got the disaster for Bezzecchi and then the elation from Fabio Di Gianantonio. But we'll get back to that in a minute because Marcel Schrotter looks to have carried a lot of speed there. He's diving over the inside. Oh, it's going to be 3 abreast going into turn 1. Magnificent job there for Di Gianantonio and Schrotter as they both forced Grant out wide into turn 1. We had absolutely nothing we could do there. Good job from the AI. That was very smart riding from both Schrotter and Di Gianantonio. Marco Bezzecchi has survived the onslaught of potential attacks as Grant will now fight back on Marcel Schrotter. Is Marcel Schrotter going to go round the outside? You know that's my move. You're not going to do that to me, sunshine. Oh, he's thinking about it, though. He's definitely thinking about it. This rival between Schotter and Grant is certainly brewing, especially after Grant knocked him out of the race last time out in Mugello. Of course, it was inadvertent, it was an accident that just happened. Both two men wanted the same piece of tarmac, but unfortunately, one had to suffer the consequences of bumping into the other. Now we get right onto the rear of Di Giannantonio. I don't think that's going to be the last we've seen of Marcel Schotter. Keep an eye on him for the rest of this Grand Prix, but we now go into turn 9. Xavi Vierge dropping back a little bit as well. Marco Bezzecchi taking advantage. He's now up into 4th place. Sam Lowe's getting away with it at the front. He's about 1.2 seconds faster than we are right now, as we now go into the left-hand side there. Going into the... Oh, Xavi Vierge's down! Oh, didn't see that coming right there. Goodness me. We're going into Lakaisha as Di Giannantonio's getting a little bit aggressive with me now. Did not expect to see Xavi Vierge drop out of this Grand Prix as quickly as that. Not unsure what happened there. He just sort of disappeared. Something just took him away into the abyss, and we will not be seeing Xavi Vierge battling out for a potential podium finish. Disappointment on that side of the Petronas SRT garage, but of course elation for this man, starting in 10th place for Grant, and he's now up into 5th place. And I've just noticed in the bottom left on the corner of the screen there's no fastest lap. I don't know what's happened there. There's something wrong with the timing sheet. I can't see who is the fastest man on track right now, but I'm guessing it's probably Sam Lowe's with the way he's peeling away from Augusto Fernandez, Bezzecchi, Ben Schneider, and now chucking Matt Grant into that mix as well. He's going into turn 3 in 5th place. Great job there from the man from Warrington. He is doing a wonderful job considering he qualified in 10th position. Do we have a lunge up on the inside of Bo Ben Schneider? Oh, you betcha. Bo Ben Schneider, the Dutchman, being beaten going into turn 4. Grant takes into 4th place. Great stuff there. Taking 4th place into the 4th corner. Marco Bezzecchi now going for 2nd place around the outside of Augusto Fernandez. That's a brave and bold move as well, but we might be able to pinch Marco Bezzecchi's 2nd place. This is getting very entertaining, and Grant is on 10th place to 2nd if he can get the job done. Going over the inside of Marco Bezzecchi, beautifully done, but Bezzecchi will fight back once again. Excellent job there for the young Italian, the Sky VR46 rider, diving back when you need to go. He's channeled his inner Valentino Rossi there. When someone gets past you, you have to fight back immediately to retain the position. Wonderful job for Augusto Fernandez as well, fighting it out in 2nd place. That is fantastic for that Elfmark VDS rider. Not had a great season in real life, but here he's doing the business right now here in Catalunya. It's a good job for one of the Fernandez boys. Of course, not related to Raul Fernandez, but we haven't seen Raul Fernandez in this particular Grand Prix right now. Not sure where he is circulating. Potentially he might have crashed. Who knows what's happened to him, but of course he is our main championship threat as Marco Bezzecchi. That was an aggressive move. Is that going to work going into the Europe car? You bet it has. But going alongside them in a moment, we could potentially have 3 abreast going into turn 1. The man on the Elfmark VDS has been beaten up. Twice he's lost positions now going into the final corners, and he's lost another one there. Who's going to be the last of the late breaks between Bezzecchi and Grant? It looks like Bezzecchi has that advantage. Great job for the young Italian as we now flick it to the left-hand side for turn 2. Lap 5 of 11 is now happening, and I tell you what, Sam Lowe's looks to be pretty comfortable out there. He's chucking in some wonderful lap times. I don't think anyone's going to get anywhere close to the fellow British rider, but now going into turn 4 on the right-hand side, we've had some decent lap times so far, a little bit inconsistent, but we'll start chucking in the proper lap times now if we can get past Marco Bezzecchi and potentially chase down Sam Lowe's. Now, my logic is now, though, we are fighting for the World Championship. Marco Bezzecchi and Sam Lowe's haven't had the best of seasons so far. We really don't need to be battling with these two gentlemen. We will try and take over from Marco Bezzecchi now, because that was a beautiful move going into the left-hander of turn 7. Turn 8, Marco Bezzecchi goes around the outside. This is what I'm referring to. We don't need to be fighting with the likes of Marco Bezzecchi and Sam Lowe's, and they are riding extremely aggressively because they're desperate for podiums. We, on the other hand, aren't so much. We're on a magnificent streak of podiums right now. 3 wins out of 4 races and 4 podiums out of 4. As goodness me, we just shoved Marco Bezzecchi out of the way there, running him wide into Lakaisha. I do apologise. I did turn around to sort of apologise, but of course you don't wave your arm or anything. At least take that from an apologetic gesture from Dr. Ace himself. My apologies, Marco Bezzecchi, one of my favourite riders of all time. I love Marco Bezzecchi, so I do apologise for shoving you into the dirty part of the track of Lakaisha. Now going on to the right-hand side for the Europa car, and we're going to be 1.6 seconds behind the fellow British rider. We could have a potential Lincoln versus Warrington. This is England versus England sort of fight once again, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to chase down Sam Lowe's. And do we really need to? I'll give it what I've got. We'll test out the water. We'll see where we can find ourselves. And if we can get closer and closer without too much effort, then we'll chase him down. But at the same time, we have to be smart about this. Granted, it is a long championship. There's still plenty of rounds remaining. 12 rounds to be remaining, to be precise. But as we get our first track limit warning, don't fancy any more of those. That really sends the willies up. Yeah, it just makes you a little bit nervous when you get those track limit warnings. It makes you a little bit tense. But we have cut down 5/10 of a second onto Sam Lowes' time, or at least 4/10 of a second. We could very well potentially be in for a chance of a victory here today. That could be, I was going to say 4 in a row, but unfortunately that didn't happen. We took second place last time at Mugello, but we could be restarting the win streak, and we could be getting back onto the podiums and increasing the podium streak as we just abuse the track limits there once again. Might not be wise to fight because I am really pushing to chase down Sam Lowes. He is on another level right now. If we're on level 4, he's on level 5. Great job for the fellow Brit right now. We're going into Lakaisha. Might be able to close in a little bit on him here. We've done well so far this Grand Prix of closing people in on Lakaisha. Taken quite a couple of names into that corner as well. So keep on pushing, keep on moving forward, looking forward and sort of understanding where Sam Lowes is good, understanding where he's weak, understanding where we're strong and understand where we're weak. That's what it's all about. We've got to just learn, take our time and just keep focusing on the Grand Prix that is ahead of us right now. Now onto the right hand side of Europe car, turn 13. We will be starting the 7th lap in a moment. Now, of course, 7 out of 11. We have set the fast lap of the race right there, 1:45.302. You can sort of tell with the red flash on the lap time in the right-hand side of your screen there as we make that same mistake we did in qualifying. Thankfully, we were able to save it. But my goodness, my heart is in my mouth right now. 1.4 seconds is the gap to Sam Lowes. We might have taken a couple of tenths away from him, but we just lost a bit by making that error into turn 1. Marco Bezzecchi behind us. He's holding on to a podium position right now. Wonderful to have the Italian up there. As we now go on to the right-hand side for turn 4. Casually and gently breaking into the 4th corner. As we'll now keep it onto the right-hand side. Be careful on the right-hand side. Look how warm that rear tyre is getting. Please be careful on that one, Grant, because we chucked the right side of the tyre away in this track that is heavily dominated by right turns. It's going to have a bad time. Now going into the left-hand side for the very difficult and tight TV3. We do close in on Sam Lowes and the gap is under a second for the very first time today. Now onto the right-hand side for turn 9. Had to have a little bit of a readjustment there just to make sure we didn't go onto the rumble strip. Then we ended up going on the rumble strip on the outside, on the exit of turn 9. And now going into Lakaisha for turn 10. Closing in on Sam Lowes all the time. We've gone down! Oh, I don't believe it! No way! Grant, the World Championship leader, has choked it to the scenery, binning it into Lakaisha just like his teammate Xavi Vierge did just a couple of laps ago. Oh, unbelievable. Just when you think the man was thinking about the World Championship, he throws it in the bin. Goodness me. What a shocker from the Moto 3 World Champion. He has made a massive blunder. Absolutely huge blunder there. Goodness gracious, Sam Lowes has somehow defeated Grant on this occasion. That is unbelievable. What a mistake there coming in from the Moto 2 World Championship leader. And I'll tell you what, he still will be leading the Moto 2 World Championship because Raul Fernandez is only 1 position ahead of us. He's 5 seconds ahead of us up the road, so I'm not sure what's happened to Raul. But goodness me, this championship has just turned again. Who is writing the storybook for this MotoGP 21 championship? Who would have expected Grant to throw it away into the scenery today? It looked like it was going to be a tough Grand Prix just from how qualifying and practice was. But unbelievable scenes here today. Starting 10th, getting up to 2nd place, pursuing Sam Lowes, putting on the pressure, but ultimately only put the pressure on himself. Razlan Razli, Jürgen Stickerfeld, the rest of the guys in the Petronas SRT team must have been livid. I'm guessing clipboards were thrown, bike parts were snapped, everyone's miffed. You guys are unhappy, we're unhappy. This has been a disaster for the Moto2 World Championship leader. Absolute disaster for the man from Warrington. He will be devastated at that performance. Didn't see that coming at all. It went without any purpose or any reason. Of course, we went too wide. That is completely our mistake. We made the mistake going into Lakaisha, and we have paid dearly for that one single mistake. We did get a little bit out of shape on that particular lap, but we were closing on Sam Lowes all the time. And I do feel we had the lapse as we go a little bit wide into Lakaisha again, or a little bit of a mistake on the entry there. Actually, I managed to save it going into Lakaisha that time, but unfortunately we couldn't say the same just the lap previous. But what a disaster. No points on offer today for the Moto2 rider. He might as well go back into the pits and accept defeat, but we will continue to the very, very end. We don't give up. We always stay ace. We never say never. But unfortunately, that was a big, big mistake here today. It's good for the championship because it makes it interesting. It's not like I'm going to be getting away with a 50, 60 point lead. It is a completely different story. We're very fortunate that Raul Fernandez is only one position ahead of us right now. I have no idea what happened to Raul Fernandez or Hector Gartho because I expected a lot better from both men, from both respectable positions, but I'm not sure what's actually gone on there. They must have been involved with that crash earlier on, which occurred, I think, here, maybe turn 2 or turn 3. I do recall seeing the yellow flags come up in this particular area, but what a disaster. Sam Lowe's has done a terrific job here today. Of course, he will then take the... well, I should hope he takes the victory. There's a couple of crashes ahead of us there. Siren's gone down. Oh my goodness, what's gone on here? What on earth has gone on there? Arenas went down. Siren went down. I do believe someone else went down. Not sure what on earth happened there. But Raul Fernandez and Grant both went through unscathed. As well, to continue to push down, to chase down Raul Fernandez. But there isn't really much for us to get excited about here, because it's only a battle for 27th position. Now, unless Xavi Vierge got back on the motorcycle, but even if he did, I certainly don't think he'll be the top Petronas SRT rider. I think Jake Dixon will be taking the honours of the best Petronas SRT Calyx here today. As we go into the left-hand side, back into Lakaisha, giving Raul Fernandez a little bit of a nudge there. Oh, he's not happy about that. He's had to have a look around to say, what on earth are you doing down here as well? We're supposed to be battling for the win, not down here. But now Grant has taken through on Raul Fernandez. He has gained 27th position. But as I mentioned earlier, nothing to get excited about, nothing to scream or shout about. So I can only apologise to the Aces for binning it into Lakaisha and ruining this Grand Prix of what would have been so special. Did the same last time in Mugello in Moto 3. Threw it all away and the Grand Prix was just dead. So once again, I do apologise to the Aces for making that massive blunder. But we are now onto the penultimate lap and it doesn't seem to be anything changing. Quick recap, Sam Lowe's is leading this Grand Prix from Bo Benschneider. So good to see the Dutchman battling it out for a second place. Marco Bezzecchi in third place. In fact, he's just changed his mind. He jumped into second place as well. But currently, that's all we can see for the top riders right now. We do have Barry Baltus in 25th, Somkiat Chantra in 26th, Grant in 27th, Fernandez 28th, and Albert Arenas in 29th. And Hector Garso, I think he just disappeared from the Grand Prix itself because he's no longer on the screen. And Raul Fernandez has just gone down in the same corner as Arenas and Garso crashed just earlier on. But we have started chucking in some decent lap times now, even considering there's nothing to really particularly chase in front of us. 4 seconds up the road is Somkiat Chantra, and I do think Barry Baltus and quite a couple of other riders are with him as well. But there really isn't any point of pushing now and trying to chase them down because, well, what's in aid of? We're not going to get any extra points. It's simply going to be a big fat nil point, a big fat 0 for Dr. Ace and the Petronas SRT outfit as we go into the dreaded Lakaisha one more time. We'll be doing it one more time, one more lap to go after this one, but we are in a bloody good lap right now, so can't fault Grant's effort of trying to pursue at least some decent pace towards the end of this Grand Prix. But as I can only apologise for the disappointment that I've given to the Aces, because I did feel this was going to be one heck of a Grand Prix towards the end there. Going into laps 6 and 7, we took the fast lap of the race. I was thinking, oh, Sam Lowe's is in for trouble here. But this is where it separates the great world champions to the world champions, if you will, or just normal riders. We have to get better at that. If we're under immense pressure, or if we're trying to pursue someone and put pressure on them, we need to be that much better. But we did set the fast lap of the race right there. That is the fastest lap of the session and of the race so far, a 1:44.927. I don't believe anyone's even made it close to the 1:44s, so that's pretty impressive for the man who just thrown it to the scenery not long ago into Lakaisha. We're going into turn 4 in a moment's time. We'll be trying to save a little bit of rear time, but it's still not looking too good. Probably when we get onto turn 5, it's going to be very, very red. As a matter of fact, it's already extremely red. It's tomato-like, but we are into power setting 3, so you can tell the difference of how much power you're putting on. As Alberto Arenas has just dropped it into the same corner. There seems to be, and Raul Fernandez, there seems to be some sort of issue into turn 3, but only for those two men. Not seen any other crashes apart from those 2 or 3, so I don't know what's going on there as we make a hash of turn 8 and giving ourselves almost a long lap penalty. We just have 2 more instances of going onto the green and we'll have a long lap penalty, but 18 seconds behind Sam Lowe's now. He has dominated this Grand Prix from start to finish, from the whole shot to the victory. Sam Lowes is doing an impeccable job. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen there how much gap he has on Marco Bezzecchi and Bo Benschneider. This is going to be a very comfortable win from the man from Lincolnshire. So there it is. Sam Lowes will win. He's across the timing screen now. Brilliant job for Sam Lowes. Marco Bezzecchi in second place. And Bo Benschneider hangs on for his second podium of the season. That cannot be said for him, as he will finish in a very, very disappointing and lonely 27th place. Back to the drawing board for the Petronas SRT team and Grant. So those are your results. Sam Lowes wins with Marco Bezzecchi and Bo Benschneider on the podium. Remy Gardner in 4th with Fabio Di Gianantonio in 5th. Schrotter, Fernandez, Canet and Roberts are your top 9. Grant, of course, finishing out of the points in 27th. And same can also be said for Raul Fernandez finishing almost dead last. So we take a look at the championship standings, and Grant still leads away by 27 points ahead of Raul Fernandez, but Sam Lowes, the big mover, chucking himself up into 3rd place. He's only 31 points behind the man who crashed out here today in Catalunya. Looking at the team championship, the Red Bull KTM IO team pinch back the lead. They are now 2 points clear of the Petronas Sprinter Racing, and Elfmark VDS Racing team are just 47 points behind Red Bull KTM. So guys, upon that note, thank you very much for watching this video. I do apologise for crashing out and making the last part of the race a little bit boring. But guys, as always, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single dot race upload. And upon that note, guys, thank you for watching and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more dot race content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single dot race video.